Welcome back here to X's and Bros, Michigan Sports Network. Great to have you right along with us. That's Ben Glaze and Ryan Elke. Time now to welcome in a man who's got a lot of coaching experience in the world of college basketball. His name, Mike Garland, the Spartan dog himself. Coach Garland, good morning to you. How are you? How's life? How are things, partner?
I'm doing well, Anthony. And how about yourself?
I'm great. It's championship week, and it is a week of excitement. It's also a week of heartbreak. But before we get into all of that, let's first turn our attention to the Michigan State Spartans, right? They've got the first game today in the Big Ten tournament. This is a massive one against Minnesota in the Golden Gophers. When you look at what Michigan State has done over the last, let's say 5 games, right? Because they've been 1-4 coming down the stretch, headed into the conference tournament. What's your state of concern right now on a scale of 1 to 10? How nervous are you for this club?
Well, I have to be upfront about it. It's just, our inside guys are going to have to play well. And, our guards have got to take it to another level. It's, you win championships with guards, and we've got great guards. But that next level, we've gotta find, or our guys have got to get to that point, and I'm talking about our perimeter play. It's got to get back that mojo that they once had, going into last year where we nearly got to the Final Four again. That was about great guard play, and they can make up the difference from what we lack basically inside, and it'll make us a better team, and we could actually make some noise.
Coach, you know how much work goes into this, not just during the season, but in the off season, in trying to get prepared for your year. Right, season is the time where the team gets better. The off season is where the individual gets better. And when you look at Sissoko, you look at Cooper, you look at Booker, some of the bigs that are on this team. How frustrating is it as a coach where you spend a ton of time not only in individual skill development but for your team, and then to look to those guys on the interior and not be able to get the kind of production that you need? You can't expect Tyson Walker to go off for 30 to be able to keep you in a ball game every single night.
Yeah, but Anthony, you got to look at college basketball too in the way it's played. The game has gone to 5-out basketball. And what I'm saying is, it's 5 guys on the perimeter. And basically, even all teams have a big guy, but he's running out, setting ball screens for guys and then rolling back to the basket. And then his instructions are to clear that area so that guards can drive. So a lot of teams, right now, and particularly at the college level, are, they have the same dilemma. Our inside play, but nobody's really playing that way. There's very few teams outside of Purdue have a strong inside post presence. But what's interesting in all of that is that the top team in college basketball, which is Purdue in the inside game, and you have Arizona and you have Connecticut, they have an inside presence. But same thing in the NBA. Everybody wants to play the 5-out game, but the teams that are dominating right now still have that post presence. So I like to say, okay, yeah, our bigs aren't giving us maybe what we actually need to have, but the game, you gotta add that component into it too. And I guess in the modern day game, the modern day era of basketball, they're looking for the 5 guy that can shoot the 3. But if the 5 guy can shoot the 3 is not a guy that can defend a guy like an Edey, then you're not getting anything out of it.
It is. it's such a quandary we find ourselves in. I kind of want to go down this game theory path with you now because maybe I'm stuck in my ways. Maybe I believe that as we see the run game in football, kind of the pendulum swinging back towards the fundamentals. You have to block, you have to tackle, you have to be able to run the football. I wanna live in a world. I want the 3-out 2-in. Like I want to have a power forward and a center on the blocks that are able to do some different things. Guys that have established post moves that can cook a little bit, as the kids like to say. And are you down the same path, or I'm stuck in the 90s?
No, I'm right with you, and I'm gonna tell you what you'll find is a lot of true, basketball guys, just they feel the same way. You'd be shocked at the number of people that are on your side about this. I'm 69 years old. And I've watched basketball since I was 12 years old. I've never, ever seen where basketball is played the exact same way on every single level, high school, college, and pros, by every single team with the exception of a handful. I've never seen that. The reason everybody had, like going back to the 90s, as you just mentioned, everybody had their different styles of play. And there's a reason that they had their different styles of play, because every single team wasn't meant to play that way. But now, because of recruiting and every player, whether the guy is 7'10" or whatever, wants to be on the perimeter, I think coaches feel that they have to play this brand of basketball in order to be successful, and it's not true.
I mean, if I could reach out and hug you right now, I would. You played you played this game a long time. Northern Michigan back in 1977 when you and Tom were running the floor together. And I look at this and I think that's such an interesting point about every single level, because it's almost like our big men, they want to become guards. It is the strangest thing. I refer to it as the Steph Curry revolution. And a lot of people, they want to talk about like impact on the game. Nobody has changed the game since Jordan like Steph Curry has, because he made everything inside half court look like a good shot. And now all of a sudden everybody believes that they want to play so far away from the basket. But I want Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing. Like I want bad boy style of basketball, Bill Laimbeer and Rick Mahorn. Like I want guys that can bang down low in the post, that aren't worrying about, Karl Anthony Towns, standing in the corner. You're 7 feet tall, get your big ass under the hoop.
That's right. I totally agree. And there's much more effectiveness to the game. And I want you to consider something here too when you're watching ball. Have you ever watched basketball over all of your years of watching it, whereas in the last 10 years where this 5-out basketball has become the ideal way to play, where you see such scoring drought. The scoring droughts are crazy. And if you're old school, you've been taught as a coach and as a player, if we can't make buckets, what do? We go inside. Get some easier baskets near the basket. We draw fouls, and we change the momentum of the game inside out. It is a inside out game. It's not an outside in game. So, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, when you hear some of these analytical guys that with these numbers and all this stuff, and they're saying that Shaq couldn't play in today's game, are you nuts? Are you really believe that? You must be crazy.
You know what I got to say about that, Coach Garland? Get these nerds out of here. Shaq's playing in every era. You're just going to dump it down low, and he's going to cram it on somebody's forehead. He's the most dominant player in the game.
Yeah. You dump it down inside. You shoot your threes, and every time I'm going to come down, and I'm going to throw it down there to him, over and over and over again. And your guy that's standing out there shooting threes, he's not going to make as many as Shaq is going to make right there in that sitting right there in the middle of that lane. And by the way, he's going to get some three-point plays too, because he's going to get them the old-fashioned way, because you're going to have to foul him.
And the minute they try to stop that and try to double it, somebody eventually is going to hit an outside shot, and his assist number, he's going to be able, you got to pass out of the post.
No question, because you got to sink, and now those are inside-out shots, which is the most effective three in the game, where it goes into the post, you collapse on the post, now it's thrown out, because it's like, what do kids grow up doing? A lot of kids, they're shooting on their garage. The pass is coming from inside out, straight at them. They shoot on the shooting machines, inside out. They're facing the basket. You know, instead of the ball coming from the.
I think I just lost. I think I just lost Coach Garland. I think the same thing that happened with Coach Barlow in hour number 2 just happened in hour number 3, because I lost the audio in my headset. But that's okay, because I'm going to throw this next one out there. If he's still on the line, I'm going to throw this next one out there about how difficult it is, as you mentioned, coaching young people and where they start, and that ball coming from inside out, as you were just mentioning, shooting, at your own house. When you think about the young people in today's game, you think about how long Coach Izzo has been doing this, how much more difficult and different it is now to try to coach young people at this level, where we see the current college state of athletics is at, where guys are, if they don't like something, they can just leave. It's got to be ultra frustrating for a guy like Coach Izzo.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But not only does I call him Chief. Not only does Chief recruit talented guys, but he also coaches and recruits the kind of guys that fit our culture, and that's very big. And but it's still hard, because he has, as you just mentioned, there's so much outside influence in that. And, talking about these days where, every kid has a guy. And, every kid feels that in order for them to play at the next level, if I'm a big guy, I got to be able to shoot the ball from out there and shoot threes and makes. That's added on. Be a basketball player. And that's what the biggest change that has come about is, be a basketball player. Be able to do all things. The best players do it all. Doncic, they're talking about 3 straight games of triple-double. Well, the 3 straight games of triple-double include rebounding and assists. It's just not he's just scoring points. The best players, the Joker. You just go on and on and on, Big Edie, he's a double-double machine. You just, be a player. That's first and foremost.
Coach Garland, when you think about, I was listening to Gino Auriemma was talking about the international game and the influence of international players now, both at the professional and at the collegiate level. And he said something very interesting. He said, in today's world with AAU basketball kind of taking over the scene here in America, you have the international player that practices 6 days a week and plays once per week. And then you have the player here in America who is playing 6 days a week and only practicing once a week. How do we fix, because I feel like, as you mentioned earlier, this is every level of the sport. How do we go about fixing this?
Well, Anthony, we're talking about something I could talk about all night. First of all, talking about the European player. I'm from the old school, and I remember sitting at a coach's clinic, which used to be very, very big, and all the young coaches and even older coaches at every level went to these big clinics. I mean, there'll be 500-600 guys at these clinics to hear the best in the game talk about the game. And one time John Chaney was there, and he was talking about how everybody was everybody's going nuts about the European game, how they coach and how they play. And he went back and he uncovered what happened over there. They had no idea about how to actually coach kids in basketball, how to play the game of basketball. But every summer back then, he said himself, John Thompson, Bobby Knight, Lute Olson, all of our great coaches would go over there for 6 weeks and not only train the kids, but train the coaches as to how to play the game, the fundamentals of the game, how it should be taught. And they still utilize what they learned from those guys. That's still their template of development. And over here, we want to shortcut all of that, and they don't. I remember Kelvin Torvert, whose son has become a pretty good player right now, and he told me that when he was over in Europe playing basketball, that until the age of 12, they never let one of their kids play 5-on-5 basketball. It's either fundamental work or they play 3-on-3. And that's how anybody that really, really understands the game, if you want to teach someone how to play the game, how to utilize their skill set inside the game, you teach them from teaching them and having them play the game 3-on-3 so they can see the cuts, so they can see the opportunities. And we've gone just so far away from that, But I love this conversation.
I love it too. I mean, Coach Garland, the game theory here and how this thing has evolved is just, it's wild to watch in real time how it all plays out, but then it's also kind of sad to see, as you mentioned, this almost sort of sterile cookie cutter, like copycat league type of trickle down effect that we've seen at the highest level now all the way down to high school. Last one for you real quick, because we're up against the break, and I appreciate your time so much this morning, even though we're battling through adversity. We had some technical issues, but we're still fighting, Coach. We're getting on the floor for a loose ball. That's what we do here.
I love it.
Who wins today? Michigan State or Minnesota?
Michigan State. We're going to find a way to win. I was by there yesterday, and I was talking to Doug Wojcik, and Doug says, "Hey, we're very confident we're going to find a way to win," and I believe that. I really do. We're going to find a way to win today.
He is Mike Garland, Michigan State assistant for many, many years. Belleville, Northern Michigan, Tom Izzo's teammate and confidant as well. And Coach Garland, we appreciate your time this morning. Let's do this again sometime soon. We can dive back into game theory. I love it.
All right. Anytime. Give me a call.
There we go.